Being a jungler is not easy. You have a huge responsibility, and many times it's the jungler's performance that determines if a match will be successful or not. Luckily for you, we will talk today about everything you need to know to become the perfect jungler. Hello my friends! Welcome back to the Ultimate Rank Up Guide series. If this is the first video that you watch from this series, make sure to check out the other ones as well. Before you ask, yes, I will talk about every role in the next videos as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet and don't want to miss it, do it now! We start with one simple rule that many players know, but there are still so many junglers out there who completely ignore this rule. So I tried to say it in the nicest way possible, so everyone understands and remembers it. Don't fucking touch the minions in the first 5 minutes of the game. You got that? When you do this, it only has negative consequences for everyone in the team. Firstly, your allies lose a lot of golden XP, which they can only receive by minions. Unless they are clearing your jungle, what they obviously shouldn't do as well. But if you do it, it might lead them to steal your jungle creeps, which are essential for you. Next, there's the problem that you almost gain no benefit from it. The golden XP you gain is so minimal that it's a complete waste of time for you. You get more golden XP from a small jungle creep than from a full wave. So even when you don't give a damn about your teammates, what is a complete wrong mindset by the way, at least give a damn about your own golden XP. Because with this mindset, you really need to be farmed. There's only one exception where you're allowed to touch the minions. And that is after a successful gank, when you want to push the lane together with your teammates. This is your main job as a jungler by the way. Clear the jungle to have as much farm as possible, gank the enemies with your teammates, and secure the objectives. Just to be clear for the beginners, the important objectives are the turrets, the turtle, and the lord. And the enemy's base of course. I'm talking in almost every video about objectives, because I see so many people who are always forgetting them in their bloodlust. I will quickly show you my early jungle rotation now, because it is super important to be on level 4 before the enemy's jungler is. First, you're going to clear the blue buff, followed by the lethal wanderer. The lethal wanderer is really important for multiple reasons. First, it's giving you a small buff. Secondly, it's faster to clear than any other jungle creep. What leads me to thirdly, it decides most of the time which jungler reaches level 4 first. Why? It's the only jungle creep that only exists once on the battlefield. So if you're able to get it, your counterpart obviously can't. And you have the first advantage over that guy. For this, I would really recommend to save your retribution, so you can make sure to secure it. If the mid laner and Roamer are smart, they're going to help you to secure it, what makes it very easy and fast to clear. If not, play it safe and retreat if 3 enemies show up. There's nothing worse than dying at this stage of the game already. After you hopefully secure the little Pokemon, let's see who understands that reference, you use your full combo on the like button, so this video can spread to more ML players and we are all blessed with better jungler teammates. Thanks for that. Now seriously, you move on to the teddy bear and the red buff. If you have any AoE damage skill, you can take them both down at the same time, what saves you some additional time. Time is a very important keyword here. As jungler, you have no time to waste, so use anything that you can that saves you any time. Now you're on level 4 and can start to move to the lane that is the most promising for a gank. This is also the reason why it's so important that you become level 4 ASAP. It gives you the opportunity to start the first gank. And if you're successful, you have the lead over the enemy and can start to build up your farm lead, which is obviously super important to win ganks and take the objective afterwards. A lane with a weak early game enemy is more promising than a lane with a strong early game hero, or one that has great survival skills for example. Since the weak early game heroes are most likely strong in the late game, you can also make sure to keep that hero on the low golden XP level and not let them become your worst nightmare once the late game starts. In an ideal world, your mid lane and Roamer rotate together with you, so you 3 go to a side lane and gank the poor enemy who's still alone. Just be aware, after you kill that poor bloke, the enemy is going to show up, so make sure to not get surprised by them. If you die now, all your hard work would have been for nothing. Also keep in mind that most junglers shine in the early game after reaching level 4, but fall off the cliff in the late game when the big ganks start. So once you're level 4, you have to be aggressive to give your team a huge lead before the late game starts. Now before you continue with the strategy in the game, we also need to talk about what jungler you should pick in which situation. Picking an assassin when the enemy has a bulky jungler and 2 bulky side laners is not ideal. because you can't one-shot any of those. In these situations, you should also pick a jungler that can sustain a lot. On the other hand, if they play with another assassin and a marksman on the side lane, an assassin is a better choice than a fighter jungler. That's why it's a good idea to be one of the last picks, so you can adjust your pick to the enemy. The only exception here is if your hero is a priority pick. Now let's get back into the game. Usually after the first gank is over, the turtle is about to spawn. So you should be there once it's spawned and try to secure it. Always have your retribution ready for the turtle, because it's a huge waste of time when you beat it down to 1000 HP and the enemy's jungler easily collects it while just passing by. One keyword that you always should have in mind is taking objectives. Clear the jungle, especially the buffs, rotate and gank the enemies to make sure that you and your team can take the objectives. This also has the benefit that your ally has more farm than the counterpart, so they can dominate their lane. I'm saying it again, so it really sinks in. Your keyword is taking objectives. Now, some of you may say that kills are also important, but honestly, they're not. They're just a byproduct of your job, because it doesn't really matter if you win a match with 5 or 20 kills. The only thing that matters is that you win the game. And the only way to do that is taking down the enemy's turret and that stupid looking base from the enemy. The kills are only helping you to take your objectives, because an alive enemy will defend it, unless they are really stupid. And it gives your team gold and XP advantage. But again, this is not winning you a single game. It only makes it easier for you to gank. So after a successful gank, you always have to take an objective. Otherwise, it was almost for nothing. This you basically continue the whole game through. Now it's maybe also a good time to tell you what you definitely shouldn't do. Recklessly diving into your enemies without any backup from your teammates, for example, is a bad idea. As assassin, you most likely can take down any squishy hero in a 1v1. In a 1v3 though, you can kill maybe 1 or 2 enemies if you're lucky. But afterwards, you're getting beaten down by the other remaining enemies. In the worst case, you can't even take down one with you, and basically just suicide it. So don't do that. You need to be alive for the ganks together with your allies, or when the turtle is up. The opposite of this is to just farm non-stop and not taking part in any ganks. Whenever I see an assassin running around with a KDA of 000 after like 5 minutes, I'm always wondering, what is this guy doing all the time? Are you too scared to engage or what? If you don't feel confident about diving into the enemy with a squishy hero, then you shouldn't pick. An example, you play a saber and hide in a bush in the mid lane. The enemy's mage is clearing the wave and has about 70 HP. On the top lane you see